Oh, I'm on. Good evening, everybody. It's Chris here at the Whistle Stop Cafe. No, I'm not at the Whistle Stop Cafe. I'm from the Whistle Stop Cafe. I got to get it right. Just my 2 cents. Too soon? Anyway, check this out. Time Magazine, Artificial Intelligence, the Promise and the Perils. And the article that I had started to read before I realized that I can't read because my eyes are so bad. I can't see in this little light, and I need even thicker glasses, was called Will AI Lie to You? It actually will, for sure. You kind of have to train it not to. And even then, you don't know for sure. Yes, please, if you can't hear me or the sound is bad, just put something up in the comments and I'll deal with it as best I can. Okay, so it's been a pretty interesting day today. Started off great, continued great. It's still great. It's been a great day, but I've learned a couple things. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't learn a couple things. I saw some things that reinforced talking points we've had over the past however long. A Conservative Party of Canada MP crossed the floor today to the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party needs two more Conservatives or whoever to cross the floor, and they form a majority government. The major concern we had with the imminent, or we thought imminent upcoming election, was that Carney would form a majority government. Well, it looks like he's not going to have, they're not even going to have to do an election. It's just going to happen. He's going to get those other two, and we're going to have a majority Liberal government. And then a lot of these bills that you're seeing that restrict our rights and freedoms, infringe on your privacy, all sorts of things, they're going to be rammed through Parliament, and it's going to suck. Told you so. Earlier this year, we had a giant revival of conservatism in Western Canada, and Pierre Poilievre was packing stadiums, 15,000 people at an event to hear Pierre Poilievre speak. We're going to create a conservative government in Canada, and we're going to fix all these things. We're going to build homes. We're going to fix the jails. We're going to do all this stuff. Well, it never happened. And it didn't happen because Canada doesn't give a shit about the West. Your Conservative Party of Canada MPs don't give a shit about you. They don't care about the West. They cannot care about the West and become the government. They can't. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And even if they do become government, what I'm getting at is it's not because they care about you. You are irrelevant. Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, you are completely irrelevant to Confederation. I wrote an article with a lot of help from my friend Grok called "What Business Have Ye with Me, Your Majesty?" Pretty poetic, right? And it kind of explains my theory that Canada wasn't created as a declaration of a self-governing people from the Crown of England. It was a smart business deal by the Crown to maintain control over their colonies, giving them the illusion of self-governance and independence, but maintaining the grasp on their resources. And I was right. Sorry to burst your bubble, but I was right. I'm wrong about some things, but I'm right about that. So if you just look at this from the perspective of what Canada is, what it was supposed to be, it was never supposed to be equitable. The West was never supposed to have a voice. It was always, the milch cow. Yeah, that's something else I learned, is that people just really don't pay attention too much. It was designed to be this way. I recently had my website revamped, and I did some products and put them on there because I like to do that kind of nerdy stuff. One of the things that I did, actually, here, let me see if I can show you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this one's for Kurt. Kurt, are you watching? He never watches. He doesn't want to see me. These are for Kurt. Check that out. Isn't that fantastic? Alberta Crocs. Yes, Alberta Crocs. Do you know why they have the holes in those Crocs? The holes are in those Crocs so that your Canadian can all leak out, and only your Alberta will stay. Your gooey, ooey gooey, fat Canadian leaks out, and your muscly Albertan stays in the shoes. That's why the holes are there. Anyway, available at www.whistlestoptruckstop.ca. Fulfilled and shipped within 2 or 3 days, direct to your door. And that's a guarantee. It's not like I have to go package these and ship them. It's all done for me. So you don't have to wait for me, which some people have had to wait a long time. So let me show you this milch cow. So the Great Canadian Milch Cow was a cartoon that was done in, I can't remember if it was 1911 or 1915. I think it was 1911, and then came out again in 1915. And it's a picture of a, oh, did I click on it? It's a picture of a cow across a map of Canada. And in the West, in Alberta and British Columbia, Saskatchewan, we're feeding the cow hay. And the udders are in the east on the map, and Eastern Canada's madly milking the cow. So we're feeding Confederation, and the East and Central Canada is benefiting from it. That's the milch cow. So I thought, everybody must know about this. I mean, it's history, right? So they must know. So I figured, hey, let's do something with the milch cow. So I did a No More Milch Cow shirt. And 2 things I learned here. Number 1, people don't really share my sense of humor for the most part. Another thing is they had no idea what the milch cow is. And number 3, it seems as though people are unaware that longhorn cows actually have horns. Apparently, this is a trans cow. It's not. It's a cow with horns, which there's lots of them. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. I had a lot of fun with it. I've already sold a few. A great thing to put on your wall. Oh, and did you see this? Did you see this picture? Don't I look young? That's only like 4 years ago. You see my friend in the background? Yeah, that's my friend Jason. That was at a UCP event at the Track On 2, where I tried to go meet Jason Kenney. Just wanted to look him in the eye, shake his hand, thank him for his service to the province, and tell him I was gonna, take him down. Never got the chance to, which is a shame. The guy that was giving me the eyeballs there, and his other Secura goons made sure that I never got a chance to meet my friend Jason, which is too bad. Anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that out there. So yeah, that's some of the things I learned today. This whole idea that this Conservative MP crossed the floor, and there's probably going to be more, and we're probably going to have a Liberal government, and it's probably going to completely ram it up the West with zero lube. What do we expect? The Alberta independence movement is literally the only thing that could save Western Canada, Alberta in particular, and the Western provinces. I actually met with the president of the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project today at my restaurant. Didn't have much time because we had to take that little cat to the vet, which I'll explain in a moment. But this isn't just an Alberta thing. This is a Western Canada thing. And every time we see something like this, what was his name? D'Entremont, Chris D'Entremont, I guess his name is, cross the floor and do something that shatters the illusion that Western Canada has, that we could do, we could have any kind of a country that we want to be part of. This is all just, there are more nails in the coffin of Confederation. There's people that, for reasons that I can't comprehend, are actually fighting for the status quo. Some friends of mine, they call me a dirty separatist because I don't want to be part of a country where our votes can't influence the outcome of our future. They say that I'm a traitor because I believe that the West should be able to at least have an equitable deal in this country. They say that I'm a traitor because I'm tired of watching Ottawa control our destiny in the West. And, I guess that is what it is. But I don't understand why people would continue to fight for the status quo. Why is it that people want that? And why is it that people get so distracted by something like a federal election? As a Westerner, why would you get distracted by that? It is completely irrelevant to you. In the last election, we watched the votes. Well, they didn't need to be counted after 8 o'clock. It was already done. They didn't need our votes. We just got what we got. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. Well, a lot of us got upset. And we went, and I shouldn't say we, collectively, the conservative movement in Alberta went back to where they probably knew they should be focusing on, which was Alberta independence. And the amount of time that was wasted, resources that were wasted on that boggles my mind. And it's not the first time. I mean, this happened twice since the independence movement has really started to move in Alberta. Maybe it'll happen again, maybe not. I hope people are starting to wake up by now and realize that there is only one solution. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. So, back to AI. AI is really cool and could be pretty dangerous. It can do amazing things, like you can tell it, hey, I want you to draw a picture of the Great Canadian Milch Cow in the context of Alberta breaking free from their chains of Ottawa, and it'll come up with something kind of quirky like what was there. On the other hand, you might end up with a generated image with a spelling error that 12 people don't notice. But that's okay. I have free proofreaders on my Facebook page, which I'm very appreciative for. They really do a good job of going through all of my stuff with a fine-tooth comb and letting me know if there's any errors. And that's really important because we want to make sure that things are accurate. So thank you very much for that. But that's AI for you. I once generated a picture of a Thanksgiving dinner, and it drew like Silent Hill faces, like demonic faces at this Thanksgiving dinner. When it was just the picture, first glance, oh, that's kind of cool. There's, looks all right. And then you zoom in and you have nightmares for 2 weeks because of what AI drew. It's absolutely nuts. So what AI does is it looks for patterns. You tell it something you want to do, and it scans a huge amount of information for patterns, recognizes patterns, and then puts together, it solves the equation, so to speak. I think. I'm not an expert, but that's what I've been reading. So it's kind of like it's the sum of all of our work. Everything we've done, everything we've written, whatever we put on the internet, some AI stuff uses social media very heavily, like Grok looks at X for information, and social media, you can point it towards other things, but it's really a fantastic tool. I mean, that I came up with the theory that the creation of Canada was a business deal for the Crown, for Britain. And I said, this is what my theory is. And I asked it to pull up certain information. I had it load parliamentary record and transcripts, all sorts of things that would have taken me years to do. Imagine you want to write a paper, and your paper is something like what I said. Canada was a business deal for the Crown. Okay, well, I'm going to write this theory, and now I need to go and do some research. So I'm going to have to go to the library. I'm going to have to go through the index cards, first of all, I'm going to have to find the books on these topics. I'm going to have to read a whole bunch of them to find out if they're relevant or if there's any information in there. Then I'm going to have to take notes on all these things. I'll probably have to get a whole research team to do it because I couldn't possibly go through parliamentary record for 100 years. Then I'm going to have to categorize it and spit it out in something that people can understand. Well, I did that in 4 days. 4 days using AI. Pretty amazing. And then I start thinking, what else could AI do in 4 days? Because my little project was a drop in the bucket. But the amount of processing power and ability and like pseudo creativity that AI has right now, what else could it be used for? Could AI be used to keep its thumb on the pulse of the entire planet and put out news pieces or social media posts using bots in, warehouses full of computers in India to change the algorithm and to shift the truth and make you think one thing or make you think another? Could it do that? Of course it could. The amount of processing power that we're using to think with machines is absolutely like you couldn't even fathom it. You could not even fathom it. You can have AI read an entire book like Clifford Sifton Volume 2, A Lonely Eminence. You can have them read it in 25 seconds. And then it can load that information in its brain. And as you keep having conversations with it or asking questions or whatever, it will reference that book and find patterns of the same thing you're talking about and then use it to enhance the conversation. Now, that can be used for really, really good things. As a matter of fact, my friend Thomas, he used that to get a referendum on Alberta independence on the table. Yeah, my friend Thomas Lukasik. He used AI to manage and deploy volunteers to every corner of Alberta to gather 456,000 signatures to get a referendum question on the table. That was all done with AI. It wasn't done by groups of people delegating other groups. It was done by AI saying, these are all the volunteers, these are where they live, these are all the things where they live, these are where they need to go, and it spat out a schedule and then sent the volunteers there. Pretty cool, eh? So thanks to AI, we now have a upcoming referendum on Alberta independence. AI could also be used to put out information and social media posts telling people why Alberta needs to be independent. 100% it could. So when you ask the question, artificial intelligence, it's not really a question, it's a statement. The promise and the perils, that's a month-long conversation. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. It's something we created to work for us, just like the printing press, just like the internet, just like television, radio, firearms, all tools that we use to accomplish our goals. So are we going to use it for good? We're going to use it for evil. That's the age-old question. What else did I learn today? Did I tell you that longhorn cows, like cows, female bovine longhorns, actually have horns? Yeah, I just wanted you to know that because I don't know why you need to know that. Yes, my cat. So this little cat, you remember there was this little cat. It was crawling all over me yesterday, and I had to shake it off and shoo it away because it was using me as a scratching post. Yeah, he got really not feeling good and started to stink. Like, good grief. It was absolutely horrible. It was like if you accidentally left a can of tuna under your bed for a month, and then you took that can of tuna and ate it and shit it out. That's what the cat smelled like. I don't know what that would smell like either, but it's bad. So we took this little guy to the vet, and keep in mind, we've only had this cat for a couple of days. It's just an accidental cat that we got, but he's little. He's like a baby, maybe 12 weeks old, something like that, maybe 13, 14 weeks, not very old. Completely helpless, can't really help himself, totally dependent on us. So I'm looking at this little stinky cat, and I'm thinking, it's got to go to the vet, and that's going to be expensive because vets are always expensive. I think, well, whatever. It's a little creature, and we need to help it. So we took it to the vet, and it's got an ear infection, and got some antibiotics, and got its ears cleaned, and we got it some special food and these little things. And at the end of the day, the bill was like $400 for this little cat that was a complete accident. Literally walked into the house while the kids were trick or treating, and grandma says, "Hey, don't forget your cat." And the kids are like, "That's not our cat. Where does this cat go?" So took it home to take care of it. But that's these things kind of just drop in your lap sometimes. Anyways, he's a pretty cool little guy, and I'm hoping that you guys will get to see more of him. Not sure why I shared that story. Didn't really have anything to do with what I was talking about. I think I'm just kind of going through what my day was like. Oh, also, yeah, vets are very expensive, but you know what? They got to eat too. I get a message with a screenshot someone posted on social media claiming that I'm a scammer because my sign price for my diesel was cheaper than what the dispenser said. So I'm like, okay, that's weird because I just changed it this morning. Actually, I had to raise the gasoline price because gas prices went up. Although I waited 10 days since fuel went up 10 cents a liter, and I didn't raise mine a penny because I wanted people to get a better deal. So then I'm looking at the diesel price and think, man, I got to do something for the diesel people because it's been like that forever. So I dropped it 2 cents. And in my system, I'm kind of old school. None of my stuff is connected. So my till is not connected to the dispensers or the dispenser controller or the sign. They're all individual. So first thing I do is I go and I change the price on the dispenser. I drop that. And then I go out and I change the price on the sign. That way, if somebody comes in and they get fuel, they don't see the sign change first and then see the dispenser with a 2 cent more price because they'll lose their mind and claim that you're a scammer and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I did that this morning in a rush, of course, got to leave and get my son to school. So I do that. And I see this. I'm like, what the hell? I know I just did this morning. I remember doing it. So I went in and I checked. And yeah, sure enough, it was the right price on the controller. Then I go outside and I look at my dispenser and the wrong price on the dispenser. Oh, man. Here we go again with old dispensers that are no fun to work with. So I have to deal with this. So I go through all the troubleshooting, can't figure it out, can't get the dispenser to accept the price. So what do I got to do? I got to raise the price on the sign back up to match the dispenser so I don't have people claiming I'm a scammer. Kind of hurts my feelings, but I guess whatever. People just, I don't know, maybe if they agreed with all my politics, they wouldn't have said that. Or maybe if, I never got help from anybody, they wouldn't think that. Who knows why, but whatever. Anyway, with a fuel station, I have a benefit of being an independent retailer. During the COVID crap, I had a falling out with the fuel provider that was there when I got the place. And I basically told him to pound sand. I paid the contract out early and I went on my own. And it was hard for a while. For a while there, like I actually had to buy a big tank and haul my own fuel for a bit because I didn't have a supplier. I had to do it all by myself. But we got over it and we got through it. And then I got another supplier and life is good. But the benefit is I can watch fuel prices. And if I know they're going to go up, I can buy like 30,000 liters of gasoline and make sure that I buy it at the old price so that I can sell it at a reasonable price or make a good margin or maybe both sometimes. But when you're branded, when you're part of a bigger umbrella, you can't always do that. It's kind of set for you in some cases, not all cases. But I have a lot of flexibility because I'm independent. I can buy from wherever I want. I can sell for whatever I want, and the market decides. That's it. But the crappy part is, my stuff is pretty outdated. When I first got this fuel station, I didn't even have a digital sign. It was just there was nothing. There was literally nothing there. It was like a Domo sign, and then underneath there was a crappy whistle stop sign that just looked like crap. And somehow, somewhere along the line, I decided it would be a good idea to put the digital sign up so that travelers could see if I'm offering a good price, because I want to be able to give people a good price on fuel sometimes. You know what that costs? Put it in the comments. I want you to just give me a estimate. What do you think my digital sign and my revamp of my lit sign, my highway sign cost for the Whistle Stop Cafe? Am I allowed? Oh, shoot. That's going to get flagged for copyright, I think. Are you ready? $22,000. That's what it cost me to put a digital sign on the highway. $22,000. Now, that might have brought a little more business, but to make back $22,000, do you know how much fuel you have to sell? I make about $22,000 on fuel in an entire year, if I'm lucky. And then I have to consider that I've spent between $15,000 and $20,000 on merchant services fees, Interac, credit card, those types of things. $22,000. I want to replace the dispensers at the whistle stop. Oh no, let's hold on. Before I talk about the dispensers, let's talk about the nozzles. Now, thank goodness I have a really awesome fuel supplier who can help me out with this stuff every once in a while because I buy so much fuel. Guess how much a hose with a nozzle and a swivel is? You gonna guess? $600. $600. And I have to replace those. The hoses maybe once a year. The nozzles I try and do them every 6 months because I don't want them to not click off and leak and stuff like that. $600. There's 2 on each. I have 3 dispensers. That's 6 times 6 is 36. 30. Yeah, that's a lot of money just in hoses and nozzles. The dispensers themselves, I have outdated dispensers that won't accept pay at the pump. They're digital, but they're old technology. And I have an old technology computer that controls it, which is also on the fritz, by the way. It's dying. The dispensers, those ones they were 20 grand. Pretty reasonable, except when you consider that they were already 15 years outdated when the previous owner bought them. The fuel controller to run those dispensers is $9,000. 9 grand. Yep. And mine is breaking. I have to fiddle with it and keep a cord just barely plugged in. I keep saying I'm going to do some surgery on it and fix it so that, it's good. But if I do it wrong and I'm not successful, now I got to spend $9,000 on a fuel controller. And we're talking about a product that's maybe 4 or 5 cents margin per liter, which isn't very much. So there's not a lot of money in it. So when you start to understand how much these things cost to make that much money back, there's really, it's kind of a wash. You're lucky if you can make a bit of money. The new dispensers that I want, the new ones, are $35,000 each. I want to go pay at the pump. I want to have updated dispensers with, I want to have 94 octane fuel. $35,000 a piece. 32 or 35? I can't remember. I think it's 35. And that was 4 years ago when I got the quote. Installation, $40,000. Line pressure testing, $5,000. Weights and Measures Canada, $2,000. A new tank to hold the 94 octane fuel, $20,000. It is insane. Absolutely insane. And I'm not sure why I decided to tell you guys that, but I think, I don't know if people even know these things. I get that all the time. Chris, why don't you have pay at the pump dispensers? Well, because I don't have, $180,000 to put into it I can't spend $180,000 to make an extra $3,000 a year. It's not economically viable for me. Now, there are some fuel providers that they'll put some money into your place in exchange for like a 10-year contract, selling a certain amount of fuel. And I've considered that, but then your fuel station's down for 2 months while you're doing the upgrades. A lot of times they want you to pay for the stuff upfront, and then they pay you back after you paid it. Well, I don't have $200,000-$300,000 to do upgrades. Oh yeah, I forgot. On the upgrades, then there's the sumps. There's a new island. There's new paving. That stuff together is probably about $50,000. There's some new lines, which whatever. It's not that bad. It's only like $18 a foot, so that's pretty reasonable. But this is big money. So the idea of selling fuel is so people come into the place and buy a bag of chips. I'm less concerned about my margin on fuel than I am with bringing people to the restaurant. That's why I try and keep my fuel low, is because most of my customers, 95%, that's right, 95% of my customers are from out of town. So I try and keep my fuel priced reasonable as best I can, so that when they come out to have a hamburger, they can fill up their car for a little bit cheaper, and maybe it offsets the travel, because we're a little bit out of the way. We're like 45 minutes from Red Deer, 45 minutes from Camrose, hour and a half from Edmonton, 2.5 hours from Calgary. We're not close, right? So we do what we can. But these are all things I want to do. I want to have pay at the pump so people can get fuel 24 hours a day. I would love to do that. I want pay at the pump so people can come in, or they can be in and out, get on with their day. They don't have to, come in and wait on service. But it's just not quite sure where I'm going to find that kind of dough. I did, however, buy some dispensers from the Esso in Lacombe. Do you remember the Esso in Lacombe? It was closed for a while. The guy, I think he died actually, and the estate was sold. The new owners put in a shell, and did the shell close? No, it didn't. It's a shell now. Anyway, I bought those dispensers because they'd only been in for a couple of years, and they got another probably 6-7 years of service life in them with the technology they have. So I could have pay at the pump for a little bit cheaper. But still, the installation, the line testing, all that, it's a big pill to swallow. So I think I mentioned these things just to put that into perspective, that somebody would think that I'm going to scam them over 2 cents a liter. I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap about 2 cents a liter. I don't. If I did, I would have raised my gas prices and I could have made 12, 15 cents a liter on my gas, which is a fantastic margin. I could have done that. I didn't do it because I wanted to pass on the savings to other people. The restaurant, the Whistle Stop Cafe, it's a pretty profitable little business. And the reason is, it's because we have really loyal customers. We have really good food. We have loyal customers that travel to patronize our business. The servers are great. They're personable. People like to be there. It's a cozy atmosphere. All those things that make a little roadside diner that isn't fancy, it makes it into a destination, right? So that's, that's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about not concerned about the 2 cents. And I love the brand. I love what the Whistle Stop means to a lot of people. I love what it means to me. It's become more of a destination and an icon than anything. And that of course is good for business, because loyal customers, they tip well, they bring their friends. It's fantastic. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, because the restaurant does good, we can do things like we sponsor rodeos. When I get an email that says, hey, we're doing this rodeo here, or doing this rodeo there, I buy the biggest sign I can. I want my brand there. I want my brand visible to the community. I want people to know that the Whistle Stop Cafe, even though we're kind of out of the community, we're out of the way, we actually care. We want things to happen in our community. We tried to do some stuff on our own, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And the unfortunate part is when it doesn't, like Carrie and I, Chris and Carrie show, we did a rodeo in Bashaw, and man, we worked so freaking hard on that for months, pounding the pavement, trying to get sponsors, lining things up, like just thousands and thousands of dollars going out of our pocket. And we're like, yeah, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. We're going to have a rodeo. We haven't had a rodeo there for quite a while. We needed 750 tickets to break even. Do you know how many we sold? 110. 110. We lost tens of thousands of dollars putting on that rodeo. But I consider it tuition. We learned a lot of things. It was a lot of fun. And I wouldn't change anything except for I'd sell more tickets. My point is, I do and we do a lot of things that don't make financial sense. Like, does it make financial sense to sponsor a barrel racing rider? No, probably not. Does it feel great to watch that little girl learn and grow and win and lose and learn? Yeah, of course it does. Is it awesome to see her wearing Whistle Stop hats and Whistle Stop jacket while she's doing that? Heartwarming for sure. And that's what it's about. That's why when you go to the Tees Rodeo or the Alex Rodeo or maybe the Bashaw Rodeo next year, you'll see a Whistle Stop Cafe with a great big huge banner right there on the rail, because we believe in that stuff. We love it. And the unfortunate part is, because of the things that happened over the period of 2021 to 2020, 2030, there are people out there that will never see any of that. They'll never understand it. All they see is Chris got something, or Chris is a dirty separatist. He's a monster. He doesn't care about anything but himself. He doesn't care about anything but money. Well, if I cared about money, I wouldn't have a tax liability that would make most people vomit. I wouldn't. I would put all of the money that we make into my stuff. But we don't. We put lots back into the community. And that actually, you know what? It is selfish. Doing those things and supporting community events and supporting people doing various things is very selfish. I get something out of that. It makes me feel great. I feel absolutely fantastic when I'm able to do something like that. So I guess it's a selfish thing, right? So knowing all these things, and I guess whether you believe me or not, I can't change that. I can't change your mind on what you think of me. But if you believe what I'm saying or part of it, then maybe you'll understand that this cafe, this Whistle Stop Cafe, is less about business for me than it is about statement and a community. And maybe we're not part of the community like some people claim because we're out on the highway. But the community that's been created around the idea of people that are willing to stand up for what they believe in is a community in itself. And my town, this little town of Mirror, Alberta, is split on that. There are people who absolutely despise me. There's people that publicly state things like I should be drug out into the street and shot. They call me a grifter. They call me a liar. They say things like, I knew Chris before he had the Whistle Stop and he was a piece of shit. Well, I'm not arguing with that. Yeah, I was a piece of shit for a long time. I was young and dumb, rig worker, really good at it. Sometimes not. Did things I'm not proud of. And, I never really had any interaction with any of these people before. But now all of a sudden, they knew me so well before all this, and now they talk down about me. But that's the way it is. Half the town hates me, half the town hates me, a quarter of the town likes me, and a quarter of the town tolerates me. And I'm okay with that. But the community that was built around the idea of the Whistle Stop Cafe is more important to me. Those are my people. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since we had excitement, convoys and protests and arrests and all those things. It's been 3 years. And to this day, we still have people show up at the Whistle Stop Cafe because it's a destination for them, because it means something to them. Not because my gas is cheap, not because my burgers are delicious, but because it means something to them to be there in that place. Lady from England was in. Lisa? I believe her name was Lisa. She walked in the front door, asked if I was Chris, and I responded with my standard, it depends. Does he owe you money? Because if he does, then I'm not him. I'm joking. I pay my bills. And she tried to say a couple words and immediately burst into tears. And I'm like, lady, don't do that. You're going to make me do that. And she just said, I'm sorry, but we watched what happened here, and we were going through such horrible things back then, and we watched someone standing up, and not just me. There was a lot of other people around me, and it gave them hope, and gave them something to believe in, and it gave them something to work towards. And she shared those stories, and it hit me that this wasn't a 15 minutes of fame thing. I never wanted fame. I'm pretty well recognized now, but I don't think I'm famous. It wasn't that. It was a statement that meant so much to people that they're not going to forget it. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. That's what the Whistle Stop Cafe means to me. It is a statement that no matter what happens to us, no matter what they do to us, we can always stand up for ourselves and have the support of like-minded people with us. That's what it is. It means that we don't have to go with the status quo. We don't have to just follow the crowd and go along to get along. We don't have to do that. We can actually stand up for what we believe in. And sometimes you're very fortunate, like I was. I only spent 3 days in jail. It sucked, but that's nothing compared to my friend Art. He was in jail for months. James Coates, months. Tamara, months. Chris Barber, I think we share the same amount of jail days. I think he was only in for 3 days as well. Pat King, months. And many others, the Coots guys, one's still in jail. Lots of people lost their restaurants. Lots of people completely lost hope and took their own lives. Families were destroyed. To this day, I still get emails and messages, sometimes phone calls from people going through horrible, horrible things because of the fallout from that. They weren't as lucky as me. And I'm really fortunate. The big tax liability, whatever, it's still less than the value of the property, so I'm okay. At the worst case scenario, I would have to sell everything and just be at zero, which kind of sucks being 46 years old. Who wants to be at zero at 46 years old? But again, some people dream of being at zero, right? I have no idea how this conversation ended up on that. I wanted to talk about floor crossing and the deception of politics. The how the West has their back turned on, but who gives a shit about any of that stuff? Who cares? We'll get through this stuff together, I think. And you know what? I suppose I should say about the price issue with my sign to the dispenser. I don't want to write that off as who cares, but because that's important. You have to be accurate, and as the operator of that place, it's my responsibility to make sure. I know I have older equipment. I know it sometimes is finicky, and I should have checked, and I didn't, and it caused problems because someone got upset. I'm not trying to scam anybody. I do my best, but at the end of the day, it is my responsibility. So I fixed it by raising the diesel price back up again. Sorry. But what I am going to do is this. Instead of dropping the diesel price 2 cents, which I can't do because the dispenser won't accept it, it just stays at the same price and won't change. Every fueling of diesel fuel, 75 liters and over, I'll give you a free can of pop. Free can of pop. That's $1 more than the price difference. So you're actually getting a better deal. And you get a pop. Even though pop is kind of poison. It's full of sugar, artificial colors, flavors. I wouldn't drink it, but if it's your thing, you can have a pop. Or a water. How's that sound? That'll make up for it. In addition, I'm going to launch a Whistle Stop loyalty program. Many of you go to Fast Gas and buy gas that's not as good. because you get 7 cents a liter back in your liter log. Some of you go to Esso, like I do. I fuel up in Esso when I'm out and about because I get my PC points. Some of you get Petro points, whatever. But I think it's time we did that. It's going to cost me a bunch of money again because I got to buy the stupid cards. I got to pay for the subscription fee. It's like $100 a month. I got to pay for the equipment, blah, blah, blah. It's always, everything's taking a little more. But the nice thing about this is if you want to be part of what the Whistle Stop is, then you should have something like that. You should have a nice little loyalty card where you can accumulate points and come in and get a free ice cream or free burger or something like that. Why not? Everyone else does it. Why can't we? Yeah, let's do that. Let's start a loyalty program. Anyway, I'm going to go through the questions and then I'm going to bed. Mike says, you're more famous than you think, Chris. Does anyone understand how odd it is to be just in a random place and have random people come up to you and introduce themselves and talk to you like they know you? Really weird. It's a really unequal conversation because people oftentimes, they know a lot about me because I'm out here telling you. And I don't know much about you guys because you're not telling me about you right now. So when that happens, it's really odd. And it's actually been happening more lately, which is surprising to me because I'm not in the media. I'm not, on Rebel News. Well, actually, I just was on Rebel News. I did an interview on the Buffalo Roundtable. But I'm not, things aren't exciting like they were, but it seems like more people lately have been coming to meet me than before. So I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is? You let me know. Let's see what's in the comments. Yeah, the rodeo was very expensive, but that was a lot of fun. Someday we'll do something like that again. When are you and Carrie having another show? Thursday. Carrie and I are having another show Thursday. Thursday, the Chris and Carrie show will have both the Chris and the Carrie. That's right. If that's something that you're interested in, please show Carrie some love in the comments. I'm going to talk about Carrie for a minute. Carrie is the kind of guy that would do anything for anyone. He would. Carrie's the kind of guy that would take on way too much burden, even when he's going through things himself. And he'd do that because that man lives his life in service to other people. You might not see it, you might not know it, but that's what he does. Carrie, when you don't see him doing podcasts and stuff like this, he's in the background doing video production, doing sound, helping hosting events, all sorts of things. All of the geeky, nerdy stuff that only someone that's nerdy and geeky as Carrie could do. You might get the impression that he's on vacation or just taking some time away. He's taking some time away from the camera, but that man is working really, really hard. He's juggling way too many things, and he's doing it because he believes in what he's doing. He believes in the Alberta Prosperity Project. He believes in the Whistle Stop Cafe. He believes in his own business. He has kids that he loves, one who needs his help quite a bit right now. And he juggles all those things. So that's what's going on with Carrie. So please, show him some love in the comments. Let him know that you appreciate him. I certainly do. Don't tell him enough. So there you go, Carrie. We all love you and we appreciate you. And we're looking forward to seeing your ugly face, your handsome face on Thursday. Carrie says I'm going to have to up the price chips. Yeah, price increases coming right away, folks. Menu prices go up just a little bit. Some things, not all things. Pizza prices are going to have to go up because I ran my pizza through AI. Hopefully it didn't lie to me. But AI was like, whoa, danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson. You need to look at your pizza prices now, right now. Some of my pizza is priced, the price is only 50% more than the cost, which in restaurant terms is death. And I kind of knew that. I did it on purpose because it was an introductory thing. It's been over a year now, but I wanted to make sure that people kind of got an idea of what the pizza was like, see how it played out. I've renovated a kitchen, bought a bunch more equipment to do that. And now I got to price it properly. And I'm sure you won't mind because it is the best pizza around. We're not cheap with it. It's not always perfect because people aren't always perfect. But if you have a problem with my stuff, you tell me and I'll make it right. That's just the way it is. No ifs, ands, or buts. However, if you do something like order pizza with your own credit card and then challenge with your credit card provider saying that it was fraud and get your money back, I will plaster your face all over social media, and I will make sure that every other business knows that you are a thief and a liar and a scam artist and not to do business with you. Because that $120 that you got back for food that you got, nothing was wrong with it, and you filed a fraud complaint with your credit card provider, that's bullshit. And that, in some businesses, that's their entire profit for like 2 days. So, yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about that. That's negative. Any questions? Yeah. No, Lisa, it wasn't 10,000. It was $22,000 for the sign. Tom, yeah, you almost got it right. Tom said 25,000. What else? Oh, the cat distribution system. Yeah, that's what's going on in this town. We have a cat problem in this town. There's a couple. No, I don't have new dispensers, Lisa. I want new dispensers. There's a couple places in town here where there's cats literally like pouring out of the windows and doors of the houses. It is unreal. They're everywhere. Jessica and one of the kids, they're thinking about doing a fundraiser to do, catch a bunch of cats, take them to the vet, get them fixed, and then let them go again. So I'll let you know about that. Hopefully it happens because I think about this little kitten that we have, and I think it came from one of those places. There's a lot of kittens there. So if this guy has ear mites and infected ears and needs help like that, there's other kittens like that right now that aren't getting help. They're suffering and they can't fix themselves. They need a human to help them and they're not getting it. So we're going to hopefully do something about that in the near future. And please get your pets spayed and neutered. Some more comments here. Tracy asks, hey, Chris, why would I be unable to subscribe? I'm not sure. Should have no problem. Only on my page, though. Whistle Stop Cafe was mass reported by people who love the old, and hated my position that government shouldn't tyrannize us. I'm not sure exactly what content Facebook didn't like, but enough people know it was all digital. Anyway, you can subscribe to my personal page. As for the subscriptions, why did I enable subscriptions? Well, I've been taking a lot of time to do a lot of extracurricular things from the Whistle Stop Cafe, so I don't cook very much in the kitchen anymore. I supervise and I do the supervisory jobs, but another part of my job is advocacy, because if I don't do it, who's going to? If I don't get involved and advocate for the things that I want changed, who's going to do it for me? Am I going to trust my conservative MP to do it for me? No, because they're just going to cross the floor and become a liberal MP and give the liberal government a majority. No. I'm not going to sit back and watch the world go to shit around me. I want to get out and do stuff, and that's expensive. That means that I have to pay people to be at that cafe instead of me being there. That means if I'm gone and there's something that has to be done that requires a contractor, it's going to be very, very expensive. So when you subscribe to my page, you are supporting me doing that. And no, it's not because I want to go and buy a Porsche or something like that. I drive a 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee that the check engine light is permanently on. Like I don't have fancy things. I buy the things I need. Like last week, what did I buy? Last week I bought a new digital camera for podcasting and for being out on the road doing events and live streaming and stuff like that. I bought some proper lighting because somebody, I don't know why, they must have been drinking, but they said that I should get proper lighting for my podcasting so that people could see my face. And again, I apologize to the rest of you who are going to see my face better, but that's what was asked for. So I bought that. What did I buy? Last thing I bought for myself, I actually bought myself an electric drum kit. Yeah. Because I got back into playing drums and I had a set in here, which you guys saw. The pieces of it are still back there. I still got it. But I realized that my neighbors probably don't like it. Sure, they don't like it because every time I would practice or play, which is a lot of fun, by the way, I'd go outside and do something, and then the neighbors would kick their door open and crank their tunes as loud as they could. And I'm like, that's weird. I like their music. So thank you. But I think I was pissing them off in the daytime, right? Never at night. Maybe at night. I don't know. So I bought an electric drum set so that I could have my hobby and not piss off the neighbors. And that was not cheap. But, I don't do a lot of fancy things. I don't have a new vehicle and that kind of stuff. So anyway, the subscription, that's what it does. It helps me do that stuff. Also, it gives me time to focus on building the Whistle Stop Cafe, doing all the things I want to do. We've changed the way things work there. We have the online ordering now. We do delivery with the pizza. We've got more customer interaction digitally, that kind of fancy stuff, just to make the experience a little more 2020s, I guess. So yeah, that helps with that. If you want to subscribe, you can go to my Facebook page, Christopher Scott. It's my name, just my name. I don't put the real in front of it. I don't change my name and then claim that I'm the real something. It's just me, the real me. Or is it? Maybe I'm AI. Anyway, go to that and you can just click subscribe and go through there. I think it's like $12 a month or something like that. But it certainly helps out a lot. Yeah, Diane says, we know you drive vehicles that allow you to survive a train collision. Yeah, well, that also was expensive. You know what? My insurance went up. It like doubled. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is my insurance double? Well, it has on here that you struck a train. I said, no, I didn't strike a train. A train struck me because there was no damn signs. None. No crossing sign, no stop sign, no nothing. Looked like just a crossroad, whatever. And they're like, nope, the insurance company says you struck a train, so we're going to charge you. So now I pay double what I paid for insurance before. And that's going to be like, I think it's double for the first year. And then it's like 80% more for the second. So it goes down, but it's costing me a lot of money. But I did survive, so there is that. Spay or neuter your kitty cats. Yes, absolutely do that. Yes, the guy in the background is not seen, but Kerry works hard. He really does. He's also not seen in a crowd with people over 5'4", but we're not going to talk about that. We love Terry with a K. Yes, everybody loves Kerry. Everybody that meets Kerry loves the guy. Oh my goodness. The recall. That's something I really wanted to talk about. There's a campaign, Total Recall, to recall all of the UCP MLAs, every single one of them. I think there's a bunch of them, including Demetrius, that's already, they're already gathering signatures. And it makes me wonder if people had put that much effort into holding government accountable when the government was acting illegally, closing your small businesses, putting masks on your kids, keeping your kids out of school, telling you had to take a clot thing to keep your job, and then die, but it wasn't that thing's fault. If people had put that much energy into that, what do you think the world would look like today? If the teachers had held this huge rally and invited all their LGBTQ plus friends and their Free Palestine friends to protest what was being done to kids in schools back then, how do you think those kids would have fared? Probably a lot better. But now we have the NDP and the unions coordinating an attack on government because kids had to go back to school. I'm just going to bite my lip on that. Also, it's 11 freaking o'clock. It's been 1 hour and 1 minute. It's past my bedtime, and I better get to bed. But one more shameless little plug here. Let's, can I even find it? Where did it go? I think I might be allergic to cats. My web store, whistlestoptruckstop.ca. All of the stuff that you loved to buy at the Whistle Stop that you wanted shipped is now available on my website. I stopped even trying to fulfill orders out of the store and get them mailed and stuff. There was one lady this spring. She bought $268 worth of merch. And I didn't have a lot of it yet. I didn't even have it in the store, but it was still on the website. She bought it. And so I let her know. I said, hey, listen, I don't have this stuff. I'm going to get it as soon as I can. And she was very patient. Well, I put in the order, and I didn't get my order for 3 months. And when I got my order, it was missing stuff, specifically these cups. It was missing. And so I let her know. And she's like, okay, well, I understand. She's patient. 6 months goes by. Now she's pissed, and rightfully so. And I eventually refunded her money and then packaged all this stuff up when I got it, sent it down to her anyhow, because I felt so bad. But that's the kind of thing that you got to deal with when you have, you're trying to fulfill orders out of your own store while cooking, while plunging toilets, while doing electrical work, while, those kind of things. So anyway, you can go right on here. You can say, hey, you know what? I want to curl up at the Whistle Stop Cafe tonight. So let's check this out. What is this thing here? Oh, wow. I can buy a 60-inch by 80-inch Whistle Stop fleece blanket. I can buy it now. Oh, that's my credit card number. Just pretend you didn't see that. I can buy it and have it shipped to me right to my door. And it just all automatic. Fantastic. I love it. And the website is still under construction a little bit. There's a few more things to do. I've got some more stuff to integrate, but it's it's a work in progress. Oh, check it out. You can go and proofread my stuff. Is Alberta spelled right? Yes. Republic? Yes. Oh, winning. Republic of Alberta. Independent since 2020. What? You can buy that. My store. You can pick your color. Maybe not that color. This color? There we go. You pick your color, pick your size, all those things. You could even, if you really want to, you can buy coffee from the Whistle Stop Cafe. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. And also, I'm working on some partner stuff with some other providers that are from Alberta. So stay tuned for that. Oh, look at that. You could buy a small fringe minority Christmas tree decoration. Fantastic. Right at the whistlestopcafe.ca. Website's a little bit slow, but it's not too bad. Where is the coffee? Small fringe minority clock. So you always know what time it is. It's fringe time, bitches. These are, I make these and fulfill them. I don't make them. I have them made and fulfill them when they're ordered. So they take a little bit longer, but you will get it. Where is the coffee? See, there's our classic Whistle Stop shirt, classic Whistle Stop hoodie, small fringe minority t-shirt, Free Alberta t-shirt, some kitchen stuff like a apron, whatever, Whistle Stop. Oh, look at that, Whistle Stop coffee. Cool. You can buy that right on my website and it's shipped right to you. Probably a little pricey. Buy more than one thing so shipping doesn't kill you. And a lot of this stuff, some ships out of Canada, some ships out of the United States, just the way it is. And with the way things are right now, the duties and customs are a little bit pricey. So if you're going to buy stuff, I would actually recommend get together with a couple friends of yours and buy like a bunch of stuff together so that you can save some of those fees coming across the border and just, some of the regular shipping fees. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. And there's more coming. I've got like 473 things on my to-do list for building, branding, that kind of stuff. And you know what? Thank you to those who pay attention to this type of thing and tell me when there's spelling errors on my merchandise. Or maybe I'm just letting you know that I'm not perfect. Maybe I'm just giving you the opportunity to one-up me. You're welcome. Yeah. So there you go. Check it out. whistlestoptruckstop.ca. It's a mouthful. I think you can actually just type www.whistlestopcafe.ca as well. I think there's a redirect that's working right now, so you can try it. Oh, yes. Sorry, I meant to mention this. Each recall costs over $1 million in resources. It's going to be insane. The cost of all of these things is going to be insane. One of the things, okay, now it's near the end, so some people dropped off. I'm gonna do it. I watched our friend Sarah Hoffman, the NDP Sarah Hoffman, claim that Danielle Smith and the UCP are running away from problems. Do you know what the first thing I thought was? I'm gonna say it. At least they can run. Sorry, I'm sorry. You're right. I shouldn't make fun of people that can't run. But you can't run. Anyway, she made all of these absolutely asinine claims in the legislature. And I'm listening to this like, who believes it? Who believes these things? Do people actually believe what they're saying? Our government said, no, Elections Alberta, we're not going to give you a $13.5 million budget to do this referendum on Thomas Lukaszik's question because we don't even know what we're doing with it yet. Here's $1 million. We'll get this part of it done. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. When you need more, if it passes this phase, then we'll do more, but we're not going to throw money for nothing. Completely legitimate and a common sense thing to do. But the NDP think this is they're slashing a budget. No, the NDP is a bunch of friggin' liars. That's all they're lying about these things. Saying, oh yeah, Danielle Smith is ignoring the teachers and going to Saudi Arabia and hiding. No, Danielle Smith dealt with the teachers. She said, get your asses back to work. You had your chance to strike. We gave you everything you want. The ATA are being a bunch of whiny little bitches. Now get back to school and quit harming our children. That's what she did. Good for her. She deserves a round of applause. Oh, and the notwithstanding clause for all you people saying that she ruined the Constitution or she's, desecrating the Constitution. The notwithstanding clause is specifically in the Constitution for these things. The reason why the notwithstanding clause is used now, please clip this, somebody, put it on TikTok. The reason why the notwithstanding clause was used in this situation in 2025 with the Alberta teacher strike and the UCP government, and why it's unprecedented, is because in 2023, the Supreme Court of Canada made a ruling that said back to work legislation was violating charter right, freedom of association, which includes the right to strike, and they struck down back to work legislation. The difference is in that Saskatchewan and Ontario both legislated their workers back to work before they got to strike. Before they didn't get to exercise their constitutionally protected right to strike through freedom of association. In our case, our government let them strike for 1 month. 1 month of harm to the kids, 1 month of harm to teachers' paychecks. Okay, you guys need to get back to work. The reason they use the notwithstanding clause is because the ATA would have immediately gone to court, tied this thing up in court for months and said, you're violating our rights, you're violating our freedom of association, and you can't, this legislation can't stand. They knew that they were going to do that. And so that's why Danielle Smith said, well, if that's the case, then we're going to use a notwithstanding clause to strike that down. It is constitutional and it's allowed, and it's not taking away anybody's rights. As a matter of fact, Danielle Smith should be given a friggin' badge of honor for, again, putting her nuts on the table and doing this. She stood up for the rights of the teachers to work. She stood up for the rights of the children to learn. She stood up for the rights of the parents to have life, liberty, and the security of the person, which includes having their tax dollars spent wisely. She stood up for all of those rights. The only right she didn't stand up for was the right of the ATA to be whiny, petulant little children being used as a political weapon by the NDP to try and gain some power that they otherwise couldn't get because the NDP's policies suck, the MLAs suck, their policies suck. They tried to destroy the province, and they should be completely pummeled into oblivion, never to be seen in this province again. I think I went a little overboard there. Do you? So Danielle Smith did the right thing, and it wasn't about taking people's rights away. Now, here's my challenge to you folks. I believe that we need to stand up for the rights of teachers. I believe that we need to stand up for the charter rights of teachers. We need to uphold the Constitution and demand that our government make sure teachers' rights are respected. Therefore, I'm calling on our provincial government to pass legislation separating unions from professional regulatory bodies. I'm calling on our government to split the power of the union from the regulatory body and remove that conflict of interest so that the regulatory body that protects us from the professionals is not the same body that's advocating for the professionals from us. That's a huge conflict of interest. Number two, I'm calling on our provincial government to uphold the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in regards to teachers and any unionized worker by passing legislation forbidding any person, any man or woman in this province from being compelled to be a part or not be a part of any association, including unions. I'm calling on the provincial government to stand up for the rights of teachers, nurses, firefighters, police peoples, doctors, all of them, their right to work. Be part of a union or don't. It's a charter right. You have the freedom of association. And for too long in this province, our teachers and nurses and other unionized workers have had their constitutionally protected rights trampled on by those seeking power and wealth. And that shouldn't stand in Alberta. You should do the same thing. Write a letter to your MLA. If you want, put it up in the comments, and I will post some information about this. I'll post some ideas on how we balance the idea of collective bargaining with individual rights and liberties. I will explain to you how teachers can still have a unified voice in bargaining while not being compelled to be part of a union. I'll explain to you how non-unionized teachers could still reap the benefits of collective bargaining that gets better wages and better benefits. Maybe they need 140 sick days instead of 90. Who knows, right? You never know what's going to happen with the old thingies. People are getting sicker. You might need more sick days. But I'll put all that up if you want it. If you don't, I'm not going to because I've got better things to do, like sleep. It's freaking 11:24. My goodness. I got to go to bed. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Again, sorry about the $1.45 fuel. Your refund is waiting for you at the Stop Cafe. I'll also buy you a pop because trauma. Have a great night, everyone.
Meow.
You all have a duty to participate in civics, not just checking a box every 4 years. Go to the AGMs, go to the board meetings, be involved, or don't. But if you don't, quit whining.